management warmly welcome you to this event. Like I mentioned, if I had the resources, we would have taken you out of Enugu State. Where you will not tell me, your family is disturbing you. We decided to bring this out of Abana here so that there won't be any disruptions and distractions arising from going to your office and coming back. For these 2 days, we are going to remain here to talk to ourselves and to chat a way forward. Without wasting our time, because we have a little adjustment, because it's not easy to harvest an Irogo or even climb it before harvesting. So we were privileged to have our own. When I came in here this morning, the first question the pressman asked me was, why the choice of SSG? And what did I tell them? After his lecture, you will know why he was choosing. I told you that it's the best we have. Around, not Nigeria, but globally. I benefited from his trainings, workshops at University of Nigeria and Soka. Sometimes he will take us to Asaba. He will take us to Akwebo. Why they were doing that was, by the time you finish that training and you are back, you develop and key into the values of the university, key into the values of the state government, you key into the values of innovation. So we brought him here for him to show us where they want us to be. He's already being called here and there as we are seated here to come and do one official thing or the other. So, but he decided to prioritize coming here. Number one, because he's a pure and thorough academic. Second point is that he's a professing professor. Third point is that he's the engine of government. So he decided to come here. He said to come here to come and kickstart the event and to share his wealth of experiences so that by the time he will finish and exit, we can continue with the program. But he's always around. He can be coming in and off to come and share, especially during the breakout sessions, during the syndicate sessions. So I have the privilege and honor to invite one of the best scholars we have on issues of training, innovation, and development experts. He's somebody that can make something that is impossible possible. And he's somebody that has been motivating all the workers around him and all the staff of Enugu State. This is today. So please join me to welcome our own dear scholar, professor, and secretary to the state government, Professor Chidiebere.
Good morning, please. Please be seated.
Thank you.
The Vice Chancellor, Enugu State University of Science, to His Excellency of Power, Engineer Joe Aneke, the Special Advisor to His Excellency on Legislative Matters, Paul Najofo, the Senior Special Assistant to His Excellency on Revenue, Honorable Adenike Okebu, the Senior Special Assistant to His Excellency on SDGs, Honorable Francis Anioke, the Deputy Vice Chancellor, the Deans of Faculty here present, the Provost College of Medicine, Professor Uchenna Okolie, other senior members and leaderships of the Enugu State Universities, gentlemen of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good morning. You know I have to read the protocol so I can get it over and done with, right? Simon Otoin, the immediate past secretary to the state government. Always nice to see you. And a couple of other people that I know here over the years. Please, my session is not going to be me standing here and talking. Most of you that have been through my engagements outside doing government work where I have to read a speech will understand that this is going to be a collaborative process. It's going to be interactive. I will speak to you. I'll ask you questions randomly. So the one thing that you're not going to know is who I'm going to ask the question. You have the microphone, we will have an interaction. So if you're planning to sleep through this class, it will not be in this session. So I want to start by going back. If you look at the screen, so don't worry, you'll see me walking around. If you look at the screen, the Vice Chancellor was saying something that took me down memory lane. I didn't have this conversation with you, the Vice Chancellor. He's been my brother and my friend for a long time. We started this journey of reform and transformation in higher education when I was still living in the United States. And I remember the Vice Chancellor then, Professor Nebo, was the first person that brought me back to Nigeria to have a conversation with his faculty. But in 2012, how many years from now? 12 years. I feel like I'm having the same conversation again. 12 years from now, I'd like you to look back, and I'm going to go to the topic. Let's go to the next slide. Let's go to the next slide, and this will be the only time I'm going to be asking them to use. But I want you to look back and see what we did in 2012. So when I'm making an alignment and I'm asking questions, you will be able to understand where I'm coming from. Okay, so go back a bit. So there's a gentleman that is a very good friend of mine. As a mentor, he was a former Minister for National Planning. He was a Chief Economic Advisor. His name is Professor Osidobu. Two of us, with Monsignor Obiora, were the ones that gathered in the hotel in Asaba. What's the name of that hotel again? I forgot. But like the Vice Chancellor was saying, we took all the academic leadership, that would be all the principal officers, the deans, the heads of department, the non-teaching staff, the senior staff. We took all of them to Uyo, to Asaba first, and then later to Uyo when Abadio was the governor. The whole idea was to take them away from the environment where everybody will be focused, no distraction, no fires coming. You can see while I was here, they were already bringing files from the office so I can sign. And if you're around, people will continue to come. Vice Chancellor will always be signing one thing or the other. But what we did, I turn over to the theme. This was the theme. This was the theme in 2012. And you're going to see some words here that continue to reflect in what I'm going to say today. And if you look at what I shared in the University of Nigeria then in 2012, the topic or the theme for the whole conversation for 2 days was embracing our university strategy for institutional advancement by creating a positive attitude and synergy towards excellence. Alright, so for me now, I'm going to now go over to my presentation today, and I will start with the first few words. And I would like all of you to take a minute to internalize what will form the framework for everything I'm going to say today, and for what the Vice Chancellor and the team will continue. The good thing about this is that the Vice Chancellor, the first time I came into office, my meeting with the Vice Chancellor and his team was around how do we build a very cohesive strategy that can lead to the type of quality delivery we want for our university. When Professor Okolie came in, as they came to my office, once they come in, they will come and I will take them through a process. That was exactly the first thing I said to them. And they come back every 6 months to give us an update on progress. So here today, what we're going to do will help all of you support them, because he comes with his principal officers to be able to tell us the direction that we're going. But I want you to carefully look at, and I'm going to start with the deans, because you people are going to be the drivers. The deans are sitting down here, right? Yeah. So please, if you're a dean, raise your hand. The deans. Okay, brilliant. So I'm going to start with you. You're the dean of what? Yes, you looking back. No, we'll start with him. Yes, stand. So give me the microphone.
Faculty of Social Sciences and Humanities.
Thank you. So Dean, look at the caption today. You can look at this. I'm looking at this for the people in the back. Look at this. And the rest of you, look. I need you to underline 2 terms that are really striking to you, because it's going to tie everything we're doing today. So Dean, please read the title.
Institutionalizing performance in tertiary education through strategic planning. enhancing outcome and adaptability.
Okay, so stop there, sir. So, please, what is institutionalizing performance to you as a dean? Dean of what? Tell me who you are.
I'm the Dean of Faculty of Environmental Sciences.
Environmental Science. So, sustainability is a big thing for you, right? It should be a big thing for you. Is that correct? Dean, I need you to be talking to me.
Okay. Yes, of course.
Yes, it is. All right. So, tell me, what is institutionalizing performance to you as the head of the Environmental Science Faculty?
That institutionalizing performance is we want to perform and want the performance to be in us so that it will be coming out from us. That's the institutionalizing. And then making it workable in the faculties and departments. And
hold that thought.
Okay.
Sir. John.
I'm the Dean of
Vice Chancellor. You have to tell your people to just stay. There's too much movement around. There's distraction. Whatever they're doing, they need to do it fast and stop. Alright? So tell me.
To me, institutionalizing performance means in my faculty, can be seen as that institution. How does the faculty perform in order to bring out the best in that faculty, which represents that institution?
So, Professor Twain, is this a segmented approach or is it holistic? Give him the microphone.
Thank you. I believe that it is a holistic approach because if you make it segmented, you cannot achieve.
Put an outcome.
Output, what we were able to give in.
Output.
Okay, what we get after the input. The input gives us output. The outcome is the entire process what we are able to achieve at the end of the day.
That changes our behavior and the way we do things and becomes a culture. Call on the HOD. We always start by asking these two very critical questions. This has to do with the individual and the collective. So, first and foremost, when the Vice Chancellor says something, the question that we must all ask ourselves is, why are we here? Is this just a gathering that we're going to spend 8 hours, about 16 hours of our lives? So the time we spend here has to be value added. It can't be value depleting. It can't be a gathering where people are sitting to just, even the socialization aspect of it should be value added. Is that not correct? Sure. So why are we here? As simple as this question is, back in 2012, I used the graph to depict the ultimate goal while the Vice Chancellor then, and this Vice Chancellor and his principal team is gathered in this room. Thinking about strategic thinking, strategic leadership, strategic alignment that leads to achievement, not just achievement, but quantifiable, evidence-based achievement. We need to be able to ask ourselves, what are the key evidence points we can point to at the end of the day and say we have achieved something? You know that success in itself is not subjective. It has to be what? Evidence-based. Where you can point to the evidence. In the past 8 years, the work I've done, everything I've done with the UK government has always been about show me the evidence that justifies the fund that we have put in. So you have to do in your report a value for money report aspect. So for all the input that the head of the department talked about, how do we track success? And I'll start with this as an example. So let's look at this. There are a few things I'm going to say here that I need you, everybody here, I need you in your tables to take a quick view and take down what's another gentleman. So we were there getting ready. Guess what? They called him and made him the minister for what? Power. 2 months into it, he said to me, bro, this is the way he said, bro, you got to he said that they are because I've never earned money. I've always been here as an expert. I've never come to Nigeria to work as a resident. I always work as, which means my payment is in what? In forex. My duty of care is always always taken care of. If I'm sick, if I'm anything that happens to me, I have a global insurance that the company makes sure they sign. So you see, one, they will take me back to America. They will take me back to America, right? No, I can't see woman and Joe Parkley in Operation. You get away coaching. I'm the same of the mother and your very hand. So, Professor Nabo took me and said I should come and work with him. But what happened was, as I was thinking about that, contemplating, a gentleman called Professor Delanya, that was the senior advisor to the NSA there, Dasuki, now introduced the British government to me. Then I was coming here with the World Bank Advisory Program. So one day, they had about DFID, then HAB is the Foreign and Commonwealth Development Office now, told them about me and I submitted my CV. They said they will fund that role for me to become the Senior Special Assistant Utilities to a privately run utilities. And we were handing over. And I got in there. Joe was my witness. 2 weeks after I got in, the Professor Nebo said that I can't be the SSA, that I should become his chief of staff. Joe Brezio. Some of them were there. I should become his chief of staff, and that was when we created the war room. Professor Nebo saw something in me years ago when I just saw nothing in what I was doing other than just trying to bring our people together and change our trajectory in the United States so that when we come in, our people are not involved in fraud or they can now be involved in a meaningful, value-adding profession. He saw it then, and I followed him all the years. And guess what? It was all those exposures that he gave me a section of the Step B project. I would have been able to create that visibility. I would have been one remote academic in California where you have tons of them. You have tons of them. So key thing is that you must always be in the spirit to identify who a mentor ought to be to you. Because now think about it. If I was focused on 800,000 and the 3.something million in that day's money that was going to come out to bring those people, will I be where I am today? No. You're not answering me. No. I won't be where I would have. When Sullivan saw me, I spoke to him. He was my student when he was still the commissioner of education. Before he became an I asked him their evaluation process every year. Is it a funny meeting? It's not a funny meeting. Governor Sullivan, the deputy governor, the chief of staff, all the commissioners, all the SAs, they sit with me in a room for 8 hours from 9 o'clock to 7 o'clock every day evaluating the Asia class. He's here. And you are the SSA there. It's not a happy, that meeting, you don't come and lie. If you grandstand, get in Nkusogos, what will you? Oh my God. Sure, I can my people office here other than once throughout the time on neighbor. So they will not see me come to ask for contract. They will not see me come and ask them anything. My job was what? Provide the right data for the governor to make a decision on whether we were moving forward or moving backwards. It was that simple. But guess what? The essence of this story, if Nebo had not become my mentor, if Obiora had not become my mentor, if Ositobu had not become my mentor, remember, people can say you are their mentee, but you will not accept that they are your mentor. But you have to understand that acceptance is an internal thing that has a spiritual and cognitive alignment. You have to feel comfortable in your spirit and your brain will be engaged. Like, each time you are learning something. That's the essence of a mentor. If you're that mentor, like some academics at university, never all their PhD students don't know how to house boys. How do you dry cleaner? How can that person be a mentor in the sense of it? A mentor-mentee relationship built is not one of servitude. It's one of mutual respect. Do you understand what I'm saying? Hierarchy is not an automatic green card to respect. Did you hear what I'm saying? But an even professor does not mean that you have value to add. I want to professor. I want to professor. I want to take a desk more professor. It's your guys. Feel like when you see them, you ask yourself, how did this person manage to get here? I need to be careful how I visit. Man, thank God, no more to this visit. All these things. So let's look at the last part. This is the main thing in Chaka I learned here today. Institutional performance. That's why I asked Professor Okolie the question I asked him. Institutional performance. That's what your Vice Chancellor can point to that we have started. That's what the head of the teaching hospital will point to. And almost all the commissioners in this administration, almost all commissioners in this administration will tell you that this is a different approach. I don't know if there's been a time where commissioners are required every week, Professor Onyia is here, required weekly to submit their strategic update as a matter of necessity to help us drive our institutional agenda. I'm not going with that. There's no time. So in terms of reference, every commissioner as you're coming, once you are appointed, once you finish, you land in my office the next day. You get your what? Your terms of, and that becomes a clear, and upon you sign for me that you accept it. So when it will be very clear that you have missed that, and we can point to what you missed it with. And open all the intentional, a man that is easy for Ina, also Ina, because governor transfer, every single Friday, he gets the report on the analyzed report, everything is team name. Everyone look at that. He's aware of it. Every morning by 5:30, he gets an outline of everything he gave me that day. On Monday morning by 5:30, he gets an outline of everything I will do for that week. And I will be showing performance on those activities till Friday. Saturday, I will give my own report as the team gives their own report. He is aware. So when you start reporting the same thing over and over, except those projects that are live, like the performance of the smart schools, those ones are live because we did 100 and something. We, this team, we have been to every single local government and 120 wards since I there with Ugwu tracking projects, and we have just terminated. I have just written last week a notice of termination, giving them 14 days. But they not catch you up. Government is very clear. If you don't catch up, we will terminate. We will go for your APG and you will refund us and we'll blacklist your company for the next 7 years. Very clear. You know why? To build a legacy project that lives beyond the particular administration is a life or death matter. Is that correct? Yes. A school cannot have substandard infrastructure because you run the risk of it falling one day. And all that, smart schools are supposed to host between 700 and 1,200 students. Do you understand what I'm saying? So do you think that we should allow somebody to say we're going to run? Say we're going to mixture of the concrete. Say we're going to some corner things. So that the reputational risk is all ours. Because in Enugu State, it doesn't matter for one. Government is very clear that if one smart school falls, all 259 become a risk. Do you understand what I'm saying? So projects like that are ongoing. I mean, yesterday, I was also, this make one get the in a primary health care and they might be able. So we're also think about this. Also, we will SSG in a J handle. That's why he's looking very fresh. Look at it. Francis, stand on. Face this direction. Get them over there. Over here. Madam with the black dress, stand. Where is the wedding? This is, do you understand what I'm trying to say now? The class, do you understand what I'm trying to show? If there is no uniformity of definition that guides our movement, I'm not saying that that is the only one, but this is the one we agree as an organization, as a person, that this is the definition of our own term that can guide our strategic planning and our tracking performance. Is he wrong? No. Am I wrong? No. Is he wrong? I need you on compass. Not going to say I just said the bonding geography that you don't know. I'm not doing it right, but for now, our approach to performance will be different. Okay, at the end of the day, people are thinking that they are moving more. Motion without what? Movement. And at the end of the day, performance indicator is skewed because everybody is presenting it in the way they see it with all of us. So now imagine what Ricky said. This is scary. I need all of you to kind of take this in. This is scary. Because there's no way I can embark on a trip without being clear that my team is aware what direction we are going. That's how we can say we are going to be successful or we're not. So look at the other things they said here. Especially in areas of science. So your innovation and your innovative hubs, your patents in that area, your teaching hospital, all of them that has anything to do with science must be what? Top notch. Because we have to do, when was this mission set out? When are we in that mission today? I don't know what year they did this. This is 1980. This is 2024. So in 24 years, 44 years, 44 years. In 44 years, would you honestly say that our mission is intentional to achieve this vision? Let's be honest to ourselves. And everybody in this room is to blame, not the Vice Chancellor's team. Because everybody here is in that mission. Is that not correct? Maybe teaching, maybe non-teaching. All of us are part of that. And remember who said, now, thereby ensuring, how do you ensure when the foundation is not solid? How do you ensure? You use the word ensuring since 1980. Ensuring the development of quality what? Do we even have quality faculty? No, ask yourself, can quality in itself be a prayer topic? Is quality a prayer topic? Quality is a product of intentionality, hard work, study, knowledge, practice, not night vision. That's what people are there to Jesus are there. If you are substandard, you are going to begin substandard as you progress to heaven if you get there. You were keeping that heaven, you refuse to utilize the gifts you are given. Never now, if we did a quality assessment of the faculty, what percentage would pass the threshold? We have to ask ourselves this question. As the common thing locally, you can only give what you want. So if the people we hired, some of them were hired based on variables that have nothing to do with quality. When they promote and grow through the ranks, what would you have? What would you have? Now government. How many people are in the government next year academy? Very few. Because once you buy in a government, you don't think I just do or die. You cannot let me never. You're going to where people can challenge you. I can't wear like a Professor Ugwu or finish last minister. there's no governor, for an issue, we can politics, each one, Jolo, to go and make operation. I'm a number of politics, and they are a member of the all over the years. Even a word, also want to go to the world. I know this, so I won't go into that space. I will stay very competent, even in my space, make an operation. But because I'm trying to keep a position, a particular perception of myself, I will end up always doing what? Being with mediocres. Because I'm not saying that politicians are mediocres. I'm saying that if you are not in your area of competence, you will be able to show that you can have some level of what? Affluence and boast all over the place. You will never grow because that space in academia is not your strength. So I see that now we are going to promote scholarship. Ensuring. You can only ensure if you move this podium for them. Move them. Give it to the gentleman. You can move so they can see. Ensuring the development of quality manpower that will utilize technology. Now let me tell you people something. We just did an assessment of teachers using a computer-based assessment. We came to your university. Are you people aware that the teachers that are supposed to be teaching the Alpha generation and the Gen Z will set out a test for them? Some of them were mouse. What's one? You have a former minister. Well, mouse, Thierry Monto, near move the house. And the Lord is my witness. I'm not making this up for you. If you think I'm lying, ask Professor Anibeze. You heard about it. Teachers, when they move, how much of you move, can move, how is that? Question. Oh, when you look from beginning to end. Hey, children, I move what I can't click or can't wake up. And these are the people that will give us what? Quality. So people that will give us quality manpower. So I remember 2010, I was still consulting for Ugwu. So we came to, Prof, you remember, when Name 1 came, we had that Ugwu program on Madu, right? To transfer instruction so that some academics can teach with a blended model. So you teach some with technology, you do the other one in class. So that since the kids were being prepared for a workforce that will require them to technologically savvy in thinking about solutions to solve humanity's problem. I will spend their time and they go in Georgia, where design charge the backbone. The University of Nigeria and Soka, we tested with what they call Enugu campus. We did it with business management. We chose one faculty as a pilot. A professor in Soka was walking by in front of the classroom, a young academic, and is a young academic 0 to 5. A young academic that participated in the class was now using the technology tools to teach in the class. Professor Agachicha Nachite again, that's in that class here. See, come. Obiora. You can take it to the bank. Or see, or Kaisi Kuzieli. In the level of work, so, but I need you to imagine the mindset of this young academic. This person that may be part of his reviewers, that might be the head of the department, that might be his dean already, is told him that this party in Nigeria, are you trying to show off? As a professor, are you now at the end of your learning? Professor Never. Your learning is broad in a very minor aspect of learning globally. What do I ask? The mistake you make as an academic professor is that you now take your oracle of knowledge. It means that you're actually a mistake being a professor. So we need to keep this in our head as academics, as we are building this Enugu State University of Science and Technology. We need to know that quality is a factor of what you put inside you to improve yourself before you can transmit it. When the lady talked about, she talked about input and output. But the bigger part of it is that she now talked about what? Outcome that leads to impact. Now, in na class Onyia na kuzi na Enugu State University of Technology, hope we a better professor. What another professor na Harvard. Now kuzi the same course. Now they're as good as him. Charge your course, yeah, $2,000. Charge your course, $12,000. Waiting list na class, gap 4-5 years. Only in Chaka na actually get class, yeah. I'm not going to reduce what they go to 1.5. I'm not going to reduce to 500. According to students, guess what? The reputation of the university affects you whether you like it or not. Only in Harvard now, I transfer back to Esut only about 5 years. That thing they never give. They don't know my core institutional reputation. Do you understand what I'm saying? So let's go back now. This is your philosophy. This is what you believe. The founding fathers sat down. This is what they talked about. The founding fathers of Enugu State University of Nigeria conceived, like the founding fathers of the University of Nigeria said, we must work to restore the dignity of what? Man. Here they said they conceived that our university will be unique. Just check the word, how you do. Unique. Which is Uluga DJ. In the gathering of universities, Uluga DJ. Next week, unique na Aji have notoriety, but unique means there a positive connotation to it. Is that not correct? That must be closely related to the society. To the society, which means as we are dealing with challenges of humanity today, this university will be at the front or cutting edge of finding solutions, not behind. Here in every 5 years, and you don't is that what we're doing here? And above all, serves as a catalyst. And above all, serves as a what? Madam, so a catalyst can be what? A trigger for something to happen, okay? That will usually fast track the process of that thing happening, okay? So a catalyst, only suppose you are the head of making things happen, not at the back of copying. So academics, all they do is copy and paste. Where no professor from copying and giving pasting, and the people are going on like that. I was in turning it away. He copy and paste, I need to That's why some schools actually technology being integrated in anything they do, because we will paste in the professor as we paste in the student. So look at it. So we're supposed to be a catalyst in technological advancement of the people, irrespective of what? Race. People at university funding for that side check what the world might be going through. Race, creed, gender, or what? Political affiliation. Just look at what they said. Visit. I wish I had time. I would have taken that time. So you can remember these 3 key components to dissect it and build a plan around it. Time is a constraint for me. I have not even entered, I don't know, the introduction of the Ugwu manner. It looks like I may be running soon. And I have to go now. So I feel motivated to stay longer. So I will go fast. I need to pay attention very carefully to what I will be saying. So, this is what it means to be a strategic leader. We define leadership with multiple ways, but at the core of it, that leadership is a group process. Leadership is a group process. You cannot just be leading yourself. For there to be a leader, there must be what? A follower or followers. You got it right. Followers. So leadership is a group process. But what you must understand is that that group process must lead to a level of influence. There's a group, and that group is being influenced to either do this or do that. And sometimes that group here may not want to do this or do that, but they find themselves doing this happily because they bought into what? A vision. So this is what is time. So don't worry about copying notes, except you're just going to write down something that strikes you. Imagine, sometimes you'll be in class, you have an aha moment. When it happens, you just write it down. But Biko, do not copy. Enugu, you have a class, never have copy notes. Biko, I want us to be aligned, zoom in, and just take out things. Biko. So the second one, look at that second one. So leadership is goal-oriented. There should be a what? No, not goal. A what? Common goal. Remember, we talked about our goal being Jakarta. But we found out that different people were different what ideas of how to get to where Akwata. But our goal beginning getting to Akwata is not Akwata. That was our goal. So we must have to have a commonality of the goal and the basic direction to get there. That direction, is it absolute? That process, is it absolute? No! That's why you have strategic sessions. That's why you have risk meetings where you can now mitigate and intervene on a process that is stopping you from getting to that common goal. So the next thing that you're going to see here is that he said, and the leader should guide and so VC management team. He have apprehended an Okolie. Edited with inward, ibamba, intimidation. You must learn how to guide and motivate. Deans will now my culture, head of department, and new lecturers. Makanibu team, you are the end of it. You must guide and what? Motivate. The whole idea is when you guide and motivate, what are you trying to do? To reach the goal. Am I making sense? Yes. Am I making sense? Yes. To reach the goal. So we look at the second part. Finally, the presence of leaders supposes that what there is what? Hierarchy. Because they don't put the leader of this group. The leader of this group na hola. Ncho hold anybody accountable na Esut. Kedonye kasi nyanyam information. So leadership supposes that there must be what? Hierarchy. The Enugu state now, Kedonye bonisi. Dr. Peter Ndubisi must make the mistake. Who is your governor? Can you get a the next day? Or Nona, also elected and appointed. Was I elected? Was I appointed? Yes. So although not easy for me that I get elected. Do you think I'm to do that? Mbuluku national anthem, where what VC was supposed to see, I am representing the visitor and in the capacity of the SSG. If I'm here as SSG, I got a national anthem. So if I get diluted, we're the national anthem. What? The process. One, the other one is what? The product. And that product that you build measures under to track. Is that plan static? Is the plan static? No! Because the plan, although it's a product, has built into it a process mechanism each time you review performance. Am I making sense? Yeah. So we look at this. Alright? I'm not going to look at a process of setting goals, defining strategies, and outlining the steps necessary to achieve specific objectives. I am not objective na Esut. The founding fathers call it on how it was very clear. So we look at the second one. Now the result, because very important. You open in there, never results, not the result oriented. You're wasting your time. And your results cannot be subjective. It can be quantitative, it can be qualitative. But a mixture is always better. But it must be evidence-based and it can be what? Verified. If you can't verify it, it might not your view, or my view, or his view. Confusion, if you don't presume, it must be verifiable. So, and it must serve as a blueprint for implementing the planning process. And it will detail timelines. Gentlemen and ladies, this is so important. Timeline is so important because it helps you know when you can match the break and review. Going from here to Lagos on a good day should be 6 hours before the police and it should be about 6 hours. Right? But if you say Lagos, only a good 12 hours. Even go mistakes use also. Is that not true? Your timeline must be realistic. It must be realistic so that when you begin to miss it, you will bring yourself back and ask yourself and the team, where did we miss? Where did we miss? I rap also the Benin, Abuja, can actually go to Abuja. So many leaders, so many institutions do that. You go a different direction, you don't even know everything they go on of story building and start at Lagos. Because when you get to Abuja, if you're on a high rise, you think you have come into Lagos. But are you in Lagos? No. So it's very important that you watch your timeline. It helps you calibrate, recalibrate. So we stop, look at here and ask ourselves. Then it helps with the responsibilities. If something happens now and I hold the VC accountable, VC is going to hold the dean accountable, dean is going to help hold the head of the department, then the team lead. So we have accountability levels based on the responsible person. But the timeline is the same for all of us. So the next thing that we have to think about is this. This is required for us to achieve our set objectives. Very critical. And the last one, typically, a plan static at time but may require what? Revision. As circumstances does what? Remember here balloon. It's a product, but it's a product at the beginning and the end. It must be allowed to be reversed based on evidence from the process. Based on evidence from where? It is not about feelings. It's not about that knowledge from Buka. Nobody cares about what you like. You must align to something that helps achieve a higher calling beyond yourself. Anything you're planning that an organizational management activity that is used. Look at the first word there. Highlighting. Well meaning. Very strong meaning. To do what? Set priorities. Everything is important, but is everything critical? Do you have limitation of resources? So it is based on that limitation of resources that you now prioritize those needs and levels of hierarchy. Priority will now reach the neighbor, Okolie or here, Prof or here, all the impact for Jahani. But there were so many activities to do. I will check. They don't only help me actually, but can we impact that can help me all along. Prof is not here. So get if you was last. You must prioritize it. Okay, you have at every point in time in life there is limitation of resources. Time is finite. You cannot decide to make everything. You must choose, and this is where leadership decision comes in. Makanin run in that position. Oh, you're going to go again there. How to rank about it? You can get everybody making by into depression. There's nobody that comes to my office that will not offload a problem on me. whether you like it or not. Over the 20 people will be there, you will get 20, and maybe at the end of the day, that 20 will lead to 30. Because they will be connected to other problems. So you have to check your time, the resource you have available. How do you prioritize that? And it can't be emotional. Because in case it's not important, they don't have to be the one getting this to go down the line. So you need numbers. You need a team that you can trust that will go and research. That's why no matter his name, I have the strongest team since Ugwu working with me now. The strongest team, ranging from everything has the strongest team. Because if you don't learn, yesterday, so something came up now I said about eventually visit here to check Kihawanya about the particular project. So the person was reporting performance at a particular level, like at each of our smart school projects, each state we're waiting that will now add up to 100 on the superstructure, which comes to 100 but actually it's 50. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because we now have other things to do to make it inhabitable and to hand it over to the teachers. So only I gave a percentage now presume. In the past couple of weeks, and that's what you must have. You must have a verification approach that is not tinted. But when the governor was saying that we have one here, SSG, they have that this person, I strongly recommend, this was my word, I strongly recommend immediate termination and legal action to commence. And send a text message. So this is the capital from Sudan. Or bomb every cab eventually the day before Okolie and Sudan cab somewhere in Kano West. So the governor they checked them. Syria. Now that project, if you go on the particular percentage, only with the information from only also with information from only also but nobody went to the site if I'm here. So when we provided video evidence and my own commentary, or just Onyia, or say, Your Excellency, oh yeah, my only cause out on around guys here, my only one operate each of 2 people, only a video game, 1 person. That person, when government of the kids to lose track, whereby operational things, you have destroyed the government. The government must always stay at the level of strategic engagement. Global. Then the woman, the team more higher as different levels. I do both strategic and tactical. My team will do execution, tactical and operational. We need to be able to say that so that on your contract, check it out, they report. By the time we finish in 1 day, so we'll say that I'm not so much, but I don't know 25% of all now. I deal with delivery for the whole government. He deals with politics. Politics and poor, even rich are working. Politics itself can take 50% of your time. Because you're dealing with center politics. You're dealing with inter-party issues. You're not dealing with internal party issues. How do you know what impact on the way you just your peace? In Madu Barcelona, because of this, I now have to verify everything you say to me.
Motivation on the part of state government is important to improve the quality delivery in Esut. 1. By increase in state subvention due to Esut. I want to inform you, sir, that Esut is underfunded by the state government. Many subventions have not been received.
So subvention is money. So take one. They're waiting for me. So it's subvention 1. What's the second thing? Oh, that's everything's around subvention. Okay.
Anyways, then we are talking about money payment of 60% effect of hardship in the land. This is the kind of palliative that came from the state government that are running things. The center and Esut is not part of it. Reason that we receive subvention from the state government. How much is the subvention? Please, sir.
Okay, so that's a good question. That's a good question. And my answer is this. All this money comes from a state that gets 40% of its revenue, right, from the federal allocation, which is how much? So you take the allocation and you just oppose it with our recurrent budget. You find out that we'll barely have 30% left for capex. And it's based on that we set out a revenue timeline for internally generated revenue for 250 billion and set out methods of collecting that. You have to understand that the revenue generated in the past, Onyia is here, in the past 5 years is an average of 30 to 36 billion. Every year, the government set out 250 billion in 1 year to be able to augment our monies from the center, which makes the balance of the 520-something billion. So in doing all this, we have gone ahead and increased the cohorts for all medical officers. We have met the minimum wage allocation. In this government, in less than 12 months, we did all this in less than 12 months. We have also gone ahead to increase our revenue from what it was in the past. H1 revenue, where is the H1 internally generated revenue as at H1 is at almost 71 billion, which is the amount of money they made in 2 years in the past. By the end of this year, we would have made the amount of money that the state government normally makes in IGR in 4 years in 1 year. What did we do? We integrated technology to plug all the areas people in the Ugwu network. So when we do all this, you must understand, everybody needs to pay attention, because everything will eventually boil down to money. I knew that all his was waiting, telling me all the wonderful, I knew it was going to come down to money. And what you must understand is that we are mindful, and Vice Chancellor will tell you how much the government supports in capital projects. We are mindful that there will be at a point where we have to review the subvention across all institutions. It's not just yours. Across all institutions, IMT, Esut, and what we're doing first is to make sure we do an audit of our human capital. I'll give you an example. The local government wage bill, after our first initial audit, do you know how many people we found out that were not, after we did the virtual and physical verification? We have been able to find out that we have almost 1,800 people, 2,000 people in our wage bill. And you calculate the money we've been paying in the past 10 years. Over the years, the state has been where are you? Yeah. We've been giving subvention to local governments for pension of about 150 million every month. 150 million. So that's the money we have saved in 1 year under this government. By the time we get to December, we would have saved just almost 2 billion naira on local government wage bill in the state. We are now doing state wage bill that are close to, we found out that verified number is about 2/3 of people that are currently being paid. So we are going to be able to make these adjustments when we get the right number of people working, the value they add, so that when we increase, we know that we're increasing money for value delivery, not just because we want to pay subvention. So we're